Hey and welcome to this new video of learning JavaScript or ECMAScript6. So in this video we will talk about DOMs or document object mapping. So you can use JSPin and you can use also your code editor. For example, for me I'm choosing to use my code editor because like if you see the previous video, JSPin for me it won't like work well. So here I have a normal HTML folder, so here it is, and this is like a JS folder. We have like just the code that we present in those previous video. For example, this one about fruit and switch. So to call or to invoke JavaScript in HTML folder, we have I believe two ways. The first way is like this, for example, to type script and then src or source, and here to type like the path of your JS folder. And the other way is to type, for example, script. So script and type here directly your code inside to script in here. So for me, I choose to to create my JS code in another folder so that I can track it or be organized. For example, JS in folder and HTML in folder. So now here in HTML, let's create a div. So div, and inside this div, for example, let's type something, or let's use the lorem ipsum, but with just 10 words. No, so 10 generate. Why he do this? Don't know why he type like this. Normally he need to type to me my lorem. Here it is. So here it is, my lorem ipsum. For example, let's create here some span. So span in here. Let's copy, for example, this to be inside this span. Let's create, for example, another span. For example, in here, so span, and here let's create, for example, just a random text, for example, and here in this div, let's give it an ID. So here let's type, so ID equal to, here in space, not like that, but like that. So space ID equal, and let's give it a name. For example, let's use app. So now I have this ID that it called app, and like to call it in my JavaScript, I need to use the DOM. So first I will create a new variable const, for example, my div. It's just a variable, you can call it whatever you want. And here we use the document dot get element by ID. So, and here it is, get element by ID, and here we type the name of the ID. So now we have this div. Now if we, let's use an example, so console.log, and let's see this div, so my div. Now let's go and see it on our browser. So basically, like if you don't know how to do this, you can use the terminal. So I will see if it will work well with the terminal in here. If it's not, we will use it in our browser. So basically you just go to your folder when you have the HTML. For example, I have it here in my training tutorial, EcmaScript6, here in the code, and just double click on this icon or this index.html. So first let me just try it in here. So node.index.html GS. Again, if you want to use terminal, you need to node or to node to be downloaded. So I will use my variable or my browser. So now after clicking 2 times in here, we will have like our tab, or this is the HTML that we just typed with lorem ipsum and ECMAScript6 as a title. So now let's inspect element. Yeah, let's go to console, and if you still remember, we type here console log mydiv, and this mydiv, this variable, it's from this, that means it's all this div. So let's check that out, and here in console we can see it in here, mydiv. So here console, if we click on this, we see that it has their inner HTML. For example, we have this title, so span in here, and also we will find the other span, so we will find it just in here. So now let's change, for example, let's change one of those span, or this span, let's change it to something else, and this is what they call the inner query, I believe there its name. So here let's use another variable, const, for example, changed span equal, and now we will use this mydiv, so mydiv dot get, and we will not use get element by id because span don't have any id, so we will use get element by tag name, and here it is, get element by tag name, and their tag name is span or span. And now let's use this changed span. So changed span dot, and if we want to change in the HTML, we used code inner HTML. So inner HTML equal to, for example, changed. Let's save this. Let's go and refresh. Yeah, that's true, that will not work, because here in span we have like it's like an array, or JavaScript consider it like an array, so we need our loop for in here. So for example, const, I will name it text, for example, for, or of I mean of changed span. So of changed span, and here inside bracket, now I will use this text dot inner HTML equal to changed, and type this. So now you will save. Let's go in here and refresh, and see here instead of Spain we have changed, the one that we type in here. Why? Because we use this inner HTML, that means we changed in the HTML. And here, for example, let's see, and let's have another div, for example in here, but this one without id, and we will see that nothing will happen to this div. So change, refresh, I mean, here we have the same div, but nothing happened to her. Why? Because it don't have like this id. And an important thing that you need to know about id is that the name that you give to an id, it needs to be unique. So this means we can't name another id with this name app, for example. So this app name, it need to be unique. So just keep that in mind, because sometimes you will get in trouble, and you will not think of that as maybe the source of the problem. So just keep in mind that the id name need to be unique. Now for example, let's type here a paragraph. So, and here change it, or name dot changed are, or things which they are changed, for example are, and let's span, let's give it an id, for example changed. So changed, and let's close this span, and here let's type word, for example. Let's type here this too. So here for example we want to see how many name that are changed, and we want to type them in here. So now if I notice, for example, now if I refresh, we see here that things that are changed are words. So after that we need to see two things in here. So how we can do that? Let's go to here. Just remember the id of span is changed. So let's go here, let's create another variable, for example const, let's name it words, for example, and document dot get element by id, and we say the name are changed. So now let's just words, for example dot inner html equal to, and where are the things that they are changed are the span. So they are changed span. So here we use, as we use for an array, change span dot length, just like this, because this JavaScript take them as a length or as an array. So now let's refresh, and we see that it's two words in here. So if we go back, for example, in here, and let's use, for example, this is also a span. So let's create a span in here. Span, let's copy this much in here, what's in here. So span, and I will copy this and make it inside span, so that now it will become three things that they are changed. So let's copy, and there it is, changed, here also changed, and in the end we have changed also. And here things that are changed are three. That means three things that we changed. Let's do another example so that you can understand more and well. Let's create, for example, let's create an each one, and here let's use, for example, JS framework. So let's create an UL. So UL, and inside it, and you know this in HTML you have li. So let's use, for example, first Angular. I will just duplicate this and type it 3 times. I can type it directly using the image, and you should also learn the image. It's an easy way. So you will see, for example, li, and inside it li dot or multiple by 3. So now if I type this, it will directly create the UL, and inside it the li. So here first we say that we'll type Angular, for example, here React, and here for example Vue.js. So let's give this UL an IG. So IG equal to, for example, JS FR, that means JS framework, for example. And now let's go here. We don't have this anymore, so let's delete them, and const, for example, UL element or item. I will type items equal to document get element by id, and the id I believe was JSFR. Yeah, that's right. And now for example we want, for example, to update or edit, for example, let's see, edit React or add something rather than React. So we will go to here, use this UL item, and if we know its position, and in our case we know it's the second, but we know that Java starts in indexing with 0, so it's 0 1, this means it's number 1. So here, but like before that, now we have like the UL, we have all of this, but we need this LE. So this means we need to again create const like the one we used before. For example, here I will use LE items equal to this UL item, and then get element by tag name. So get element by tag name, and their tag name is LE. So now if I know like the position, and I know it in here, items, here I believe it's 1 dot inner HTML equal, for example, I will change it to Node.js. So save this. Now let's go and refresh our page to see. So refresh, and here it is, JS framework, we have Angular, Node.js and Vue.js. If we didn't type this, for example, we will have, instead of Vue.js or Node.js, we will have React. Here it is, but since we change it, we see Node.js. This is a way now if we know the index, but how about, for example, if we have like 100 of LE, we can't like keep track of indexing them. So in this time we will use the for loop, the loop for. So for, let's use this time let, for example, let's use it item of, so it's of loop of LE items, and inside it, so inside it we will have an if condition. So if item dot inner text equal to, let's change Vue.js this time, so we will see if Vue with capital, yeah, Vue with capital. So if item dot inner text equal to Vue.js, in this case change it for, so item dot inner HTML equal, let's change it, for example, this time to Nest.js, for example, so Nest.js. Yeah, that's it. So save. Now let's go and refresh, and here it is, it's changed to Nest.js. So now we know how, for example, we can get to an element by its ID, and also get to the element by its tag name. Here, since we have just one element or one UL, we can also here type like a get element by tag name, and here type the UL, and after that use the same same command, get element by tagging name le and to this, and it will work. But it's good to work with the IGs, and basically it's really often when we use this tag name. Old case we use just IG, so if we want, for example, in here we give it an IG and we go and change it. So I think this is all for this video. In the next video we'll continue also on working with the DOMs so that you can understand them well. So see you next.